Good morning, Kyle. How are you doing?
Good morning, Arrow. How you doing?
Well, still trying to figure out why we don't have this as a national holiday, taking off Sunday and Monday. Because, I mean, this is what everybody's going to be talking about, these commercials.
Yep, and it's always, the debate every year is, hey, shouldn't this be a national holiday? Everybody get off this an election day, make them national holidays. I'm all for it.
Man, I'll tell you what, the people that advertise and chose to make themselves visible, they could not have been part of a better game. And because I mean, all the way through, every commercial was watched and experienced.
If you bought in the fourth quarter, you got your money's worth. Definitely.
There are so many. Well, I'll tell you what I love about it, because I've been in the advertising business, radio advertising business for multiple decades. And what I liked about this was they truly believed in connection. You could tell that the writers, the producers, the directors, and the actors all were on a mission of making a connection this year.
Absolutely. That should be what every advertiser strives for every day. You want to make a connection with your audience, no matter who your audience is. If it's an audience of two or an audience of billions, as it was last night, you should always want to make that emotional connection, that, the connection to the brand and the person. And there were some real big successes and a few that just went by the wayside.
Well, one of the big successes, and I really think that this one is going to be talked about a lot, is the Farmer's Dog pet food, because this one right here, every person has a dog or a cat, went oh, and they had their own memories.
Absolutely. That one was came out of nowhere for us. We didn't really know about it beforehand. Nobody had sent it to us, so that was a big surprise to all of us. And boy, talk about pulling at the heartstrings with that one. If you have a soul, you were moved by that ad, and it was perfect. We love that ad. Well,
proving that we are in the new golden age of television, I really do love and support Sylvester Stallone with his humanizing of himself these days. Being on that series, and now he's promoting the company that basically reset up his stage.
Yeah, I mean, they did a great job with that. It was humorous, bringing in his daughters and having him be kind of a big part of that, putting the cliffhanger thing in there. It's just, it was both nostalgia and an acknowledgement of the future of streaming and studio and movies. We thought it was really effective.
Yeah. The one that made me laugh the most, though, and it's only because I'm here in the South, it was Pete Davidson with Hellman's mayonnaise. And the reason why is because here in the South, it's all about Dukes down here, dude.
Oh, yeah. We know.
But I'll tell you what, though, I'm sure it's gonna move shoppers to go, well, that was Pete Davidson. It did look, I've never tried it, but maybe we should try it just to see.
Yeah, Hellman's has been using Pete Davidson pretty smartly, and I love the acknowledgement by John Hamm. John Hamm, of all people, who's in tons of ads, even if it's just a voiceover, acknowledging that Pete Davidson is everywhere. That right there, we just went, okay, there's a great meta moment. We love that. It was a lot of fun with Allison Brie, Brie and Hamm, and then Pete Davidson. He's an affable guy. He's not on SNL anymore, but he's still so well known, especially considering his dating of every celebrity out there. So.
Yeah. I want to date him. I just want to see what it's all about.
my wife as well. There you go.
The guy that we have grown to love. I mean, I've always loved Snoop Dogg because I'm a mobile entertainer. So Snoop has been a part of my life and on my dance floor for decades. But to see him continue be himself, and to see him with Martha, oh my God, this is a true romance between these two.
Absolutely. Those two are made for each other. They are. And who's been to prison, by the way?
Yeah.
Only Martha. I love that. And those two have the best chemistry in the world. And I'm sorry, you put Snoop Dogg in anything, and he's just one of those guys. You can't stop watching him. Right. He is charismatic. He is smooth. He is a great pitch person without seeming like you're being sold to. He has the entire package.
One of the things that I noticed this year is that, first of all, I'm blessed with the opportunity to talk with a lot of musicians, and they go into the studio not to write the hit song. I really feel like in the commercials this year, they did the same thing. They came together and created incredible connections without saying, it's got to be this, and this. It's almost like they turned to the next generation of creative people and said, what's your idea?
Yeah, it was nice to see some fresh ideas in there. I mean, you could tell that some of those were done by old standard ad people, but then there were these fresh ideas that came, like the Tubi stuff. Man, that was just absolutely brilliant. And So, seeing those new ideas, those fresh ideas coming in, we want to see more of that, because it's a changing face of and consumers are fickle. They have every place in the world to go, and they don't even like ads. So if you can get people interested on the one night of the year where people want to watch ads, you got them.
I think the big shocking moment was Workday. And with Paul Stanley, Joan Jett,
Yep.
Billy Idol, Ozzy Osbourne. I was
Yep.
in total shock when that was unveiled.
That was one of our tops of the night. That was our second favorite ad. Tubi was the best, but man, put Ozzy in a suit and call him Oswald. Oh my God, we were dying. And then Paul Stanley coming in full makeup to the break room, and it just almost in a threatening manner. Oh my God, we were cracking up. I love that ad. I'm an old school rocker, so I love it. I love seeing all the faces, especially in a new, fresh way like that. What a great thing.
And because let's talk about the music business. Wasn't that a great business idea for all four of these? Because I mean, what a great way to sell tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get people interested in the older acts, first of all, and then you also just get people interested in the nostalgia of it. Like, Diddy for Uber One, you had all those old names like Montel Jordan and Donna Lewis and Khalees, and it's cool. It's cool. You want to see these acts alive, and then you bring in new names like Jack Harlow, who for Doritos did a triangle ad. That was a lot of fun, and then adding the nostalgia of having Elton John in that ad too. A very effective ad.
Well, man, I want to talk about Jack Harlow, because I would love to see the Google numbers on that to find out how many people went to Google to find out who he is, and they go, "Oh my God, I know exactly who this is."
Yeah, exactly. So it's amazing that that you take a name like that, and he did host SNL, so there was a sort of a name recognition there. But if you're not a fan or don't listen to that type of music, you don't know really who he is. But he's a great presence, and he had a amazing ability to have fun with that ad and take it to the extreme, and that's what made that ad work.
And let's talk about Elton John, because I mean, the way that he's been with Britney Spears and Dua Lipa and things like this man is brilliant at saying, "Hey, look, I've had my fun with music. Let me introduce you to some other people."
Absolutely. He's always been a great collaborator, go back to the 80s and all those great duos and duets he did. But and then bring it to the present, and he's promoting people from multi-generations, and then he's having fun. It actually seems like, the biggest curmudgeon in the rock industry is having fun.
Yeah. How did your little meter go with the father and the binky? I mean, come on. We've all been there where it's like, "Oh my God, I got to get the binky."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they took it to the extreme. That was kind of an old school tactic of taking a very normal situation and blowing it completely out of proportion. But it was fun. I mean, it was trending. Yeah. Binky Dad was trending, so you got to give it to him on that one. I didn't think it was the most effective ad of the night, but I thought it was effective. It was fun. It kept me watching for sure.
Avocados. My God, I remember the day when it wasn't like that gigantic thing that everybody was eating, but to call it the forbidden fruit, I busted a gut big time when I heard those words.
Yeah, I wanted that ad to be funny. I felt like that ad was supposed to be longer.
Yeah.
Because it had a lot there, and it had a lot of potential. Anna Faris is very funny. The whole concept was pretty funny. I felt like it needed more. And it got cut short for us, and that's it didn't make our big top 10, because it just seemed like you were wanting more from that ad and you didn't get it, and which was too bad, because hey, Avocados from Mexico has done some strange stuff over the last few years, and this could have been a real home run for them. And I thought, oh, you didn't quite make it,
dude. When I'm sitting there at a restaurant and people are eating the avocado, I mean, you just know that you're in the right place at the right time, because it really seems to be that one thing that people are levitating toward.
No, absolutely. I mean, ever since avocado toast became a trending thing.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's been on all plates everywhere. I'm originally from California, and avocados were just a thing there. And then to see the rest of the world go, "Oh my God, avocados are the best thing in the world." Well, yeah, we've been eating guacamole for years.
The touch that seems to be into the quality is, it's like raising the bar for television, this new age of television. I think that they're raising the bar with commercials as well. It's like little mini movies, which really brings back memories of Barry Manilow, who wrote song jingles for commercials and things like that. He's, to him was, if you're singing along, it's a hit song. It's the same thing with these commercials. They're like little mini movies.
Yeah, and as well they should be. The TV itself has become more movie-like, especially with the Game of Thrones and bringing kind of that elevation to what we expect out of TV. We expect more from our commercials, especially on the biggest stage of the year, which is the Super Bowl. And so you have to bring that sort of cinematic sense, or you have to bring a really good story. You should really bring all three together. It should be really good music. It should be really good production. It should be a really good story.
Was this the very first time that we've heard Mr. Peanut talk? Because I kind of went, oh my God. I looked at my wife and said, he talked.
I was trying to think of that, and I think they've done that before, but I don't think it's been much. He might have said a word here and there, but this was like they put him out there, they let him speak, they let him get roasted, as it were, and some of the jokes were funny, some of them were not, but right. That's such as the nature of a good roast.
But wasn't the comedy just those who were at the roast?
Yeah, I mean, the comedy was it was the people roasting him, and they were the typical roasters. Jeffrey Ross, obviously, being the most obvious roasting. That's pretty much all he's known for. Do you know any other joke he's done besides his roasting?
No. He's branded himself into that role so deeply.
Yep. And it worked for what it was. Not all the jokes hit, and nor should they. I mean, the roast is known for having kind of cringeworthy jokes anyway. So, was it effective? Moderately, yeah. I thought it was a decent ad, but it wasn't. It didn't make our top 10.
You walk into any grocery store, and there's more popcorn than potato chips. So when they did the Breaking Bad and making that like a meth and like heroin and stuff, I mean, it's so true because everybody is eating popcorn.
Mm-hmm. And if you're a Breaking Bad fan and you saw Tuco come back, you were absolutely thrilled. I mean, I think it got people talking about not only the ad, it was an effective ad. It talked about a new product, and it did it in a way where you used characters that almost everybody knows. If you didn't watch Breaking Bad, that's kind of weird. But that very effective ad and a lot of fun. And yeah, you came out with a product and you sold a new product in a very effective way to the biggest audience in the world.
Speaking of new products, I wasn't familiar with Booking.com, but there was Melissa McCarthy. Loved watching her, but I don't know if that message sank into me.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that worked all that well. They'd been using Idris Elba before, and Booking.com, Booking.yeah. And, he was a good spokesperson for it. And Melissa McCarthy is usually a pretty standard good. She did Kia ads a few years ago, and people love her, but was this the best use of her? No, I thought it was a little scattered, and it could have been a better message because it was fun, but it wasn't memorable in my opinion.
Was it weird not to have cryptocurrency commercials on this year?
Listen, last year was the crypto bowl. Everybody knows that, and Larry David's ad from last year was so prophetic because he said, "I don't think it'll catch." And funny enough, come back a year later, oops, it was absolutely true. What was meant to be a joke came true. And that's so, I don't think there was any big theme this year. Last year was the crypto bowl. This year didn't have that kind of one unifying element.
Yeah, and there wasn't that many Budweiser commercials. We would all tune into the Budweiser commercial, and it always topped the charts and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, and they gave up their exclusivity on the game, so they were not the only alcohol brand allowed in the game, which gave way to the weird Remy Martin ad with Serena Williams and the pretty darn good ad with Miller Lite and Coors Light promoting Blue Moon, which we thought was a pretty brilliant ad. But so yeah, you didn't have that stranglehold like Anheuser-Busch has had in the past. So you didn't have that, the Budweiser Frogs or the Clydesdales. It really wasn't there. There was one regional ad by Budweiser, and that was it.
I would love to see your guys' reaction to if you go to the local market, such as a Charlotte or even a New York or a Seattle, and see what their local ad agencies did, because they raised their bar too, and we need to give them some kudos.
Oh, absolutely. That farmer's dog one with the lovely, touching story about the dog. That was a regional ad. There were a lot more regional ads. I actually wrote about quite a few of them. There were some really good ads from the New York Mets. Tough Built did a nice ad. The Hoosier Lottery, of all people, from Indiana, they did a really good job. So there are some definite regional ads that were really strong that a lot of people never get to see. So I tried to round up as many as I could in an article I did. But you can really hit hit it out of the park with these regional ads because you don't spend as much money and you hit your target audience, but you're not spending $7 million.
Well, kudos to Apple Music for being a part of Rihanna. My God, that was the big conversation. And then the big unveil where she's pregnant. I mean, to me, that was a Super Bowl moment as well.
Oh my God, that was a pure Super Bowl moment. I mean, Rihanna, if you're not a fan of her music, you probably, weren't as tuned in, but it was a heck of a spectacle. Those floating stages were amazing.
My God.
Oh my God, they were so great. And then having that reveal at the end, and then all the Fenty product placement. The Fenty came out a big star in this one, and the Apple Music taking over from Pepsi. Boy, what a smart move that was.
Yeah. And what's so funny was reading social media after the floating stages, because everybody was talking about, comparing them to the balloons that are over the United States and stuff like that. I said, man, it's a perfect thing.
Yeah. Hey, the timing was great on that as well. I know they didn't plan that, but the extra social buzz certainly didn't hurt.
Kevin Hart with the sports betting. What's really interesting about this is that here in North Carolina, they're working on it to make sure that that people can bet on sports and things. I see that in other states as well. You could not have asked for a better. Hey, look, we're just looking into the future. Just want you to know we're going to be here when your state passes the law.
Yep, and Kevin Hart, he's a bit omnipresent when it comes to advertising.
Yes, he is.
He promotes a lot of stuff, but he's good at it. Just like Snoop Dogg, he's really good at being a promotions guy. So, the fact that he had a bunch of stars in there and the interplay was pretty effective. And yes, sports betting is more states legalize it, the more advertising opportunities there are for that.
Yeah, I listen to his podcast. I love the way that his advertisers, he says, look, tell me what you guys are buying and I'll go get them as a sponsor. I mean, he makes that connection with every single level of participation.
He is the ultimate pitch man. I mean, he's so good at it, but he's a great businessman too. Yeah. That's what, he knows when to smartly connect with a product, and he knows how to connect with a product and really get the most out of it. So he's, if you could have worse people promoting your product than him.
Do you think when Steve Martin did King Tut that he knew that he would still be probably even more popular today than he has ever been in his life?
Isn't that odd? I used to listen to his albums over and over again when I was a kid, and he was so funny. And then when he went into movies, I thought, okay, he's going to be big, but is he ever going to be? But then now he's a credible actor. I thought they could have done more with him with Pepsi Zero.
Yep.
Because I want him to be really funny, and instead he was kind of subdued, as was Ben Stiller. So it was like, you didn't quite let him be as funny as he could have been.
I was hoping that it was basically a little hint that they've probably got a movie coming out together, because I would love to see these two, and of course put Martin Short in there as well. I mean, there just needs to be something between these actors.
Oh yeah. I mean, they are some of the funniest people alive. There needs to be a collaboration there. And if you saw, there was a preview ad with Stiller and Steve Martin talking to each other and kind of trading barbs back and forth, and that was probably funnier than both in-game ads.
Yeah. Speaking of actors, Adam Driver, this guy, I swear, I mean, I know he's setting himself up for the movie that's coming out, but for him to talk about Squarespace, I finally went to the website because of Adam Driver last night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I mean, I've seen the Squarespace ads of the past. They've all been kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I expected something weird, and what we got was multiple Adam Drivers with a little bit of Kylo Ren doing the Matrix.
But it was creative though, and
it was,
because I mean, so many times those commercials in the past for Squarespace, it was like, oh, leave that for the nerds. They're the ones that design the websites. I can't do that. But when you go to that website, I'm convinced.
No, they have a good product, and I think they sell it fairly well. Could they have done a little bit more with Adam Driver? Yeah, but I mean, it fit their mode, and it fit their tone. So, was it effective? Well, we'll see if they get enough people. You went to their site, so hopefully more people did for them, and it was effective.
Do you think people will try to imitate the John Travolta dance with Zach Braff and Donald?
Oh God, I hope so. That was such a fun ad. Any of us who have watched Grease, and there are so many millions who have, that was a fun moment, even with a bald John Travolta. But man, it was a good time. It was a great bit of nostalgia, and it sold the product effectively.
Oh, Kyle, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you, dude.
Oh, love it. Thank you so much for having me on. This has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
You be brilliant today, okay?
Oh, you too.